Okay, I'd like to bring the meeting to order. This is the Historic District Commission. The date is June 13th, 2024. The time is 4:17. Notice of this hearing was published in the Friday, May 31st edition of the Fairfield Citizen. And I will take attendance. Darren Raymond Locke.
Here.
Zena Negron, Commissioner.
Here.
Thank you. George Clark, Commissioner.
Here.
Jim Bohan, Alternate Commissioner.
Present.
And Maura Garrick, Alternate Commissioner.
I'm here.
Thank you. Absent today is Art Provanis and James Accomando. And the alternate designation will be Garrick Bohan. So, Maura, you'll be voting on the first one and then every other one. And Jim, you'll be voting on the second one and alternating. Okay, first item on the agenda is Southport Volunteer Fire Department Association, 69 Main Street in Southport, for property located at 69 Main Street in Southport, for A, replace kitchen hood exhaust fan on back lower shed roof. Is there someone here representing the volunteer
Yes,
fire
James
department?
Ryan's present.
So, hi, James.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
Good. Just a quick little explanation. We're going to attempt to replace the kitchen hood exhaust system in the firehouse, and which entails increasing the size of the exhaust fan. The exhaust fan's going to be on the roof of the back of the building. And it seems to be visual from the street behind the firehouse.
Did I get pull up the drawings or like me to?
Yeah, I'm going to try. Let's see.
Okay.
Give it a shot.
You can see my screen,
Mhm.
the application.
Yes. Yep.
The back of the building with my non-professional Sharpie drawing of where the exhaust fan will be located. This is the picture of the exhaust fan of what you'll be looking at with a curb. This is the submittal from the architect with the curb adapter, which is this piece right here along the roof line and then up approximately 16 inches higher. And then the fan is 28 inches high. So what you're looking at is 44 inches high total from the roof line. There's the curb adapter submittal. This is the building survey. The streets here. There's a concrete pad in front of the firehouse. This is the firehouse. This is the bump out of the back of the building. This is what you'll be, where approximately where the fan is on the roof of the building. And the visual concern would be, I'm sorry, I don't remember the name of the road behind the firehouse.
Change your drive.
Thank you.
No, that would be Rose Hill. No, not Rose Hill.
Rose Hill. There you go, Rose Hill.
I guess Roseville.
And that is pretty much, the picture is pretty much the vantage point of my of the town property line. And then, you go 50 yards further, that's what they're going to be looking at. no great shakes as it is, but it is what it is.
Okay.
Any questions?
Sarah, would you like to start?
No questions for me, thank you.
Thank you. Rosina?
No questions for me either. Thank you.
And George? Sorry, George, questions? Okay. Jim, questions?
There you go. No questions. Uh,
Thank you.
is there any noise attached to the fan?
Absolutely.
I'm thinking about the neighbors above it. That's all.
It's not going to be a tremendous noise unless there's, catastrophic failure. What I mean by that is like a fan belt, if it was not maintained, a fan belt or a fan blade hitting the side. Other than that, it's it's not a very big fan. We're talking about a quarter horsepower right here.
Yeah.
It's really just it's a glorified kitchen hood fan in your home, except for the usage is almost commercial. So because the firehouse is it's a occupancy occupied by the fire department full time,
Sure.
and it's their workplace. So it kind of it makes it a commercial fan. That's the reason why it's all stainless steel and all that.
I'm fine. I'm fine. Thank you.
Jim, questions?
Is it visible from Rose Hill Road, Jim?
I would believe so. Pretty much in the winter, this is all visible.
Okay.
Yep, what this vantage point, sorry, is pretty much, I mean, I'm on the lawn. I'm on our property. You'd have to go across another person's property to see. But yeah, that's the vantage point you would see.
Okay, thank you.
Maura, questions?
Yeah, my only quick question, and you kind of explained it from the standpoint of that you need a higher capacity kind of commercial fan given the usage. Was that also weighed in by building inspector of what you had to do, or was it just this is just makes sense given the capacity?
This is, as far as who recommended this, we did a townwide facility audit. We hired Silver Petroselli to do a whole building, all the buildings in townwide. And this is one of the code compliant issues that came up. What we're really doing is putting some fire suppression over their kitchen stove. That means that there's, going to be, like not a halon system, but in a sense, a fire extinguisher to put out a grease fire in the stove because it is a workplace kitchen. It required that per code. So if that answers your question, I hope.
No, it does. And I presume that therefore the alternatives would have all been commercial type fans.
Yeah, this, right, exactly. We took into consideration that we couldn't be much bigger than what we are proposing.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. I don't have any questions. And I did not receive any letters in favor of this application, and I did not receive any letters opposing this application, so the hearing is closed. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is Elliot Osgood and Christine Clement, 33 Spruce Street in Southport, for property located at 33 Spruce Street in Southport. For A, replace existing asphalt driveway with native stone. B, new cobblestone apron. And C, Ryerson steel driveway edging. there someone here who represents?
Elliot Osgood here
Elliot Osgood.
to represent
Thank
at
you.
33 Spruce Street.
Thank you. Can you present your application to the commission?
Absolutely. I'm happy to share a screen
Thank you.
and take us through it. Let me just a moment. All right. Can everybody see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Thank you.
Cool. You see the application?
Yes.
Okay, great. So Elliot Osgood here with Christine Clement. My wife Christine grew up in the area and recently moved back, purchasing 33 Spruce Street from the Stout family, Stephen and Kendall Corollas. We're very committed to historic Southport. We moved here for a reason. Love the area. Look forward to contributing. And amongst opportunities for improvement and sort of supporting our neighbors, Gaylord Meyer, who lives next to me, Anne, who lives across the street, Charlie and Nancy, all have more historically oriented, Keystone driveways. And so the intention of this application is to pull out what is very broken and aged asphalt and put in the sort of what's described here with native stone. So that's the idea. We attached the site plan and then pointed out here the size, width, grade will remain as existing. And then the materials used, we've reached out to two vendors, both providing historic stone, Barnum cobblestone, obviously historic to Connecticut, to put an apron in to keep the driveway tidy, to keep the street tidy, and then matching Charlie Brownstone for the rest of the driveway.
And the Ryerson edging?
I'm sorry, I missed the question.
I said the metal edging is just going down the side of the driveway, either side of the driveway.
Correct. The metal edging is in the items within the hard line. That's correct.
Okay. Okay. Questions, Darren? Do you have any questions?
No questions for me, Nick.
Thank you. Regina, questions?
No questions. Thank you.
George, questions?
No questions.
Jim, questions?
No questions. Thank you very much.
And more questions?
No questions.
Great. I don't have any questions either. I guess the one question I do have is the cobblestone. Is it going to be based on the pattern that you shown in your picture?
Correct.
Okay. Sort of just like a stacked, like they're just going to be blocks stacked next to each other in a grid format, as opposed to like
That's right.
offset.
Yep.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
No other questions. I did not receive any letters in favor of this application. Did not receive any letters opposing the application, so the hearing is closed. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next
Thank you.
next item on the agenda is Susie Jones, 240 Harbor Road in Southport, for property located at 240 Harbor Road in Southport. For A, install 6-foot tall deer fence along north property line. B, install 4-foot tall cedar and mesh fence along northeast and east property line. And C, install one set of 5-foot tall by 6'7" wide cedar and mesh gates on east side. So someone here representing 240 Harbor Road.
Adam, I don't know, Can you hear me okay? This is Kelly McGovern speaking.
Yes.
I don't know why
I
I
can hear
lost
you.
my video, but I
Okay.
am here. Does anybody know, could give me a quick tutorial on how to get the video going? It was working before.
There's a button that says stop video on the bottom. Could that
I
be it?
did that and it does nothing. It's bizarre. Cannot connect to the camera. My camera is not work. It says work. Anyway,
Oh,
if
I can
you
pull up
wouldn't
your,
mind pulling up my application, I would appreciate it. And I'd like to introduce Susie Jones, who is the homeowner. There she is. Welcome to Southport, Susie.
Thank you. And I wanted to thank Kelly McGovern for walking me through and helping me with all this. And thank you all for your work on the historical commission. Yeah, we've been here a few weeks and we moved from Weston, so not that exciting, but it's very exciting to be back in civilization. It's really beautiful and lovely here. So thank you.
So great. This is a pretty straightforward application. We're asking for 3 things. Do you mind zooming to, there we go, to my map? Thank you, sir, very much. So along the top border, starting from the left, there is an existing chain link fence right in there. And we want to pick up that chain link fence where it ends with the deer fence and go to the end corner. And all of that section is embedded in the trees. I don't know if anybody took a walk over there. I don't think that's visible at all, but we'll see. And then from that corner on the right, coming down and then off to the angle and down again, we want to transition to a 4-foot tall cedar and mesh fence. And then at the bottom where we want to have that cedar and mesh fence connect over to the stairs with a gate. And I drafted on the next line, next page down, if you wouldn't mind, Adam, please. I just drew up some dimensions of what our fence would look like. Of course, a deer fence is typical deer fence. The mesh fence would be with cedar posts with chamfer tops with 1x4 framing and 1-inch black mesh. And the gate would have to have some horizontal and then the X bars for rigidity, and would go right in there on the side. And on the bottom, the next page is a picture of the exact fence that that we're proposing that I did on a house in Westport a while ago. But that's basically what it would look like. And that's it today.
okay. That's it. Okay. Maura, would you like to start?
Sure. My only question is that property is pretty well grown, as far as the number of bushes and trees. So the fencing will be circling on the outside of all that? Are you removing anything?
The deer fence, excuse me, the deer fence we'll get in the trees.
I mean,
The deer fence, sure, the deer fence will be within the existing trees. We're not removing anything up there. And then the other sections are going to be on Susie's property, but there's a clear shot at the property line. The neighbor has some shrubs, but it's a pretty easy clear line. We're not planning on taking anything out.
Sorry, if I could see, yeah, we're definitely not going to take anything out. And if needed, we would even add, but we chose this hoping that it really blends very well. So sorry, I didn't want to interrupt.
Not at all, Susie, please jump in anytime.
okay, thank you. No, that just helps. It's just because there is a lot there, and I mean,
Yeah.
it's a challenge, and it's clear you're trying to make it blend in. I just wanted to try to get a sense of, because it's hard when you look at the property to see exactly relative to all the bushes the fence is going to go.
On the 4-foot fence on the right side, on that part where it's angled, there's a huge holly hedge that I'm not quite sure who owns that. Susie, do you own that, or is that the neighbors?
You know what? I do not. I think that runs pretty much right on the property line. So we would be obviously just inside on.
Just inside that, yeah. And then Susie and her husband's wish to make the top part, a beautiful woodland garden. So I'm sure we'll be planting things on both sides of the fence, just to make it disappear more.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Jim, do you have any questions? Jim?
No questions, Adam. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. George, questions?
Yes, good afternoon. Question on you mentioned deer fence, but yet down the side, it's only 4 feet high.
That's right.
So is the deer fence connected to someone else's fence to shelter that area? Or are you just, trying to hope you can stop some penetration?
That's connected to I believe it's a 6-foot high chain link fence that's already there.
Okay.
And I don't even know if they make deer fence shorter than 6 foot. I mean, presumably we could get it shorter if we wanted, but
No, it wouldn't be effective.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be
Yeah.
effective. You
No,
need 6 feet minimal.
yeah, I honestly don't think the goal here is to keep the deer necessarily out, but it's to keep the elderly dogs in,
Yeah,
really.
yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, I get it.
Mhm.
No other questions. The fence looks very nice.
Thanks, George.
Okay, Regina
No questions. Thank you.
and Darren.
No questions for me. Thank you so much.
Okay. Kelly, I'm sure you're aware that in our guidelines, we consider deer fencing to be inappropriate.
I looked in the guidelines and I asked Tony Anastasia, the fence guy, and I did not see any note one way or the other. And I drove around and I think I did see some down there. So what would you propose? Should we do this kind of fence across the back too?
Well, I
Sorry.
mean, I think I'm not going to propose anything, but just to say that the deer fencing in our handbook says that it's inappropriate, and you sort of created a deer fence with this hybrid
Mhm.
of cedar and mesh. And I'm not sure. I don't think. Honestly, I don't think that the fencing, especially the ones on the side, the short ones and the gates with all the mesh in it, are necessarily appropriate.
Mhm.
I know the mesh, it looks like it sort of disappears, but then it just makes the fence look odd, like to have these openings in between them as opposed to maybe a solid fence, or I mean, it would be a lot of fence to a solid.
Mm.
So
Solid or a
I mean, and
joint
the only other times we've done it, the only other places we've done or approved like a mesh fence is for a pool enclosure, and it's embedded in like a hedge.
Mhm.
And in those cases, we have approved a mesh fence. Other than that, though, I don't recall approving anything like this.
The fence mostly will be in the hedge, except for the gate, of course, and maybe at points across the neighbor's backyard. But it was our intention to make it disappear, to embed it in more plantings.
Yeah, I mean, and we can't really consider plantings,
Yeah.
if the house gets sold and the next owner decides they like the way the fence looks without that, plantings,
How,
and
how does
it's exposed, and there's nothing we do about it.
it work with how does that work with your exception when you're approving it for someone's pool? Because someone could take out those bushes, I suppose. I don't see the difference there.
Yeah, it would. Well, I think a pool fence is required, number one.
Mhm.
And it's, and so when they do it in a hedge. I don't know. That's a good question, but we've approved it in the past. A wire mesh fence with it, embedded in a hedge.
Mm-hmm.
It's very intentional. And usually the pool is like floating in the middle of the property.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a fence it wouldn't be a fence that goes around the perimeter of the property, the whole property, like you're suggesting.
Mm-hmm. Well, I hear what you're saying.
So,
And again, my point was to find the least obtrusive fence for this woodland area. I think if we put a solid fence or a picket fence, it might draw more attention to it. The lot is very odd shaped, and we didn't want to accentuate that. But I hear what you're saying. I'll leave it to the commission to decide.
Yeah, just to say on my husband and I's behalf, we're happy, like we want to do whatever's appropriate and most appropriate for like this beautiful neighborhood. We met with Kelly and we talked to some people. We thought like at first like, okay, pick it, but we weren't doing that in the front, and can we mirror that? And that seemed like it would really be glaring, like so that's why we did go with this, but we're happy. Again, I just saw my dogs going in the road, so like we're happy to do whatever the commission is comfortable with, but this is what we had initially submitted because we thought it would really blend, but understand any concerns.
Okay. All right, moving on. I did not receive any letters in favor of this application. I did not receive any letters opposing this application. So the hearing is closed. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next on the agenda is Sophie Coleman, 349 Beach Road in Fairfield, for property located at 349 Beach Road in Fairfield for a proposed 6-foot high by 8-inch wide tongue and groove cedar fence with 5x5 posts, 4-inch rails, and 3 gates.
Yes, good afternoon, everybody. Let me
Hi.
just share my... system settings. Apologies. Sorry, it's making me just trying to pull it up for you guys. Ugh. Let me see if I can share my, says I can't share my display content. Let me just see if I can share my full screen. Apologies. I'm sorry, it won't let me share for some reason.
Okay.
Is there any chance I can talk through it? You guys have a...
I can pull it up for you.
Thank you, I appreciate it. I'm sorry.
Sure, no problem.
Essentially, we are not changing anything that's visible from the front of the house. There currently is around the back of and the sides of the yard a chain link fence, which we would like to replace with a solid tongue and groove privacy fence per the guidelines in the...
I'm sorry, could you just state your name for the record?
Yes, Sophie Coleman, I'm the homeowner.
Okay, thank you.
So it will
So yes, I
be
pulled up your application if you want to just...
Yes. So the request is to replace around the 2 sides of the yard, which is visible from Sunny Home and from the houses behind, which are also on Sunny Home, replace a current chain link fence with a tongue and groove privacy fence made out of cedar. The picket fence that is facing the front of the road will not change. We are putting in self-closing latches because there is a pool, which you guys approved for the backyard, but this is just to replace the side and back of the property chain link fence.
Is there anything else you'd like to add?
No, I think there is some
Okay.
pictures of the yard.
Darren, would you like to start?
I don't think I have any questions. Thank you.
Rosina?
I don't have any questions. Thank you.
George?
Yeah, I don't have any questions either. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Jim?
No questions, Adam. Thank you.
Okay. And Maura?
I guess once again, just asking the question, is the fence going outside, I mean, of towards the road relative to all the bushes or on the inside of all the bushes?
A really good question. So it's on the Sunny Holm side where there is a road next to it. It is going on the inside of the bushes.
Anything else, Maura?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I do not have any questions. And I did not receive any letters in favor of this application. I did not receive any letters opposing this application. So hearing is closed. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Okay, moving on to considering, oh, sorry, we have one more. We have to do the Andrew Locke and Darren Raymond Locke, 515 Stolson Road in Fairfield, for property located at 515 Stolson Road in Fairfield, and we're considering the study for historic property establishment. Darren, I don't know if you want to present something or.
I don't really
wanna
have
say
anything
anything?
to present. I gave my study report to the commission, which hopefully was read by everyone. This is my husband. I'm Darren Raymond Locke. Here's my husband, Andy Locke,
Hi.
for the record. Our house was initially built in 1820 by Walker Sherwood. We're just after he got married. It was extended roughly about 1860. It used to have a 38.5 acre farm. Associated with it, it was maintained as a farm until 1955 when it was subdivided by the homeowners at that time and led to the development of the neighborhood that we now live in. And it's got a lot of integrity, and we want to make sure that it is, there it is, that it is preserved for years to come and it survives us.
Okay. Questions? Does anyone have any questions, Rosina? Or comments?
No questions. It was a good report, so thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. George, comments, questions?
Yeah, Darren, the report was good, and I think the house is very appropriate and a great idea. So
Thank you.
we should do more of this.
Next. Jim?
Lovely report. Thank you very much. It reminds me of a farm of about that size that my grandparents on both sides grew up in the west of Ireland. About 48. Very touching reading parts of that. Thank you very much. Lovely report.
Thank you, Jim.
and Maura.
Just a technical,
Oh. She
question.
froze.
It's ours, correct?
We missed that. You
Yes.
froze.
I think you froze for a minute, so I don't know that I got the full question, but it is on the State Register of Historic. Yes.
Okay. Yep, that was my question. So
Froze again.
technically,
Any more bandwidth, Maura?
something's going on with my internet. I apologize.
I think I understand what you're asking. Are you asking what additional?
Yes.
So the State Register doesn't offer any protections to the home. It offers tax incentives by way of historic tax credits for restoration projects. But local designation gives this commission jurisdiction to look at design review for any exterior changes that are visible from a public way, street, or place, and also make sure that any changes to the property so far as additions or garages or changes to the fences is appropriate and not going to degrade the house or result in its demolition if it's not appropriate. So my biggest concern is that if one day after us, somebody comes and wants to bulldoze this house, they need to get a COA to do it. Because we're the last remaining historic structure in this area, really. A lot of the other historic structures have been significantly altered, and ours has a lot of integrity, and it's a vernacular structure, which I think preservation tends to protect high style more than vernacular. So did that answer your question?
Yes, absolutely. So it really, what it does is then puts it then under our jurisdiction.
Correct. It's the most stringent form of preservation designation that we have in Connecticut.
The commission reviewed.
Yes.
Right.
Everything that's visible from a public way, street, or place. So this house is viewable on most sides from a public way, street, or place, except for the very back. So any changes that are visible from a public way, street, or place would have to be reviewed by this commission.
Okay. Does it get it anything else?
Nope.
Okay. Okay. Just wanted to make sure. That's what I thought, but I just wanted to be crystal clear. Thanks.
100%. Totally. No problem.
Great. Thanks, Laura. I do not have any questions. And I haven't received any letters in favor of your report or any letters opposing your report or any recommendations to your report. So the hearing is closed. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Moving on to considering public hearing items. We'll start with the Southport Voluntary Fire Department Association, 69 Main Street in Southport, for property located at 69 Main Street in Southport for a replace kitchen hood, exhaust fan on back lower shed roof. Can I get a motion, please?
I'll make a motion to approve as submitted.
I'll second it.
Discussion?
I agree
No
with them.
discussion?
I agree. It just makes sense. They need a kitchen. This is what they need. And there's kind of no way around it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a code issue.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's take a vote. All in favor? All opposed? Unopposed, motion passes unanimously. Second item, Elliot Osgood and Christine Clement, 33 Spruce Street, for property located at 33 Spruce Street in Southport for A, replace existing asphalt driveway with native stone, B, new cobblestone apron, C, Ryerson steel driveway edging. Can I get a motion?
Make a motion to approve it as presented.
Thanks, Jim. Second,
Yep. I can do that.
George seconds. Discussion.
Having gone through this with our house about 15 years ago, converting from blacktop to gravel, they will enjoy the sound of tires going over the gravel the first time. Just enjoying it.
And replacing the gravel
Snow
after the
break.
winter.
You sent my newspaper man at 5 o'clock in the morning.
So I wish them
Okay,
luck.
let's take a vote. All in favor?
Yes, my hand is up.
All, thank you. All opposed, unopposed, motion passed unanimously. Next item on the agenda is Sue Jones, 240 Harbor Road in Southport for property located at 240 Harbor Road in Southport for A, install 6-foot tall deer fence along north property line. B, install 4-foot tall cedar and mesh fence along northeast and east property line. And C, install one set of 5-foot tall by 6'7" wide cedar and mesh gates on each side. Can I get a motion, please?
For discussion purposes, I'll make the motion to approve ABC as presented.
I'll second it for discussion purposes.
Thank you, Rosina. Thank you, Dan. Discussion.
I am just curious on the back line where the deer fence is going in, what is the visibility for the neighbors? It's not visible from the road, correct? I'm freezing again?
I don't know. No, it's not freezing.
Because I went back and
Um,
read our kind of guidelines, and it seems to give more latitude to the back road for practicality. And maybe I'm wrong, but I'm just curious, if that is on the back line and that property, the bushes are thick. I mean, it feels like they're right from the standpoint of it's going to kind of disappear into it, but I get your point, Adam, as far as if someone were to just take all the bushes down.
yeah.
But even the wood fence down the side kind of has a vinyl insert, at least if I read that correctly, a mesh insert that is deer fence like material.
I'm not sure about.
Is that correct?
I think so. Sentence, yeah. Let me pull it up.
I have had
Hello, excuse me. Hello, folks. Am I allowed to answer your question? This is Kelly.
No, you're not. You're not
Oh, okay.
allowed to.
Oh, okay.
We're in
Goodbye.
a executive session, sorry.
Sorry.
Are you pulling up the pictures? I was just about to do that so I could look at them again.
Yeah. So. Black rigid mesh doesn't specify what the mesh is.
maybe that's something we could put a question on. And is that, some people call that a Roxbury fence, but is that visible from the road then also? That was my other question.
Which one?
The one that has the wood, not the
Yeah,
pure
it should
deer
be
fence,
all-
but
All this is probably visible, yes. And I think it goes on this side of the property too, I guess.
yeah,
Go back to those pictures, Adam. Yeah.
This one.
Yeah. That's the.
This is not their property. This is another property, but it is, I believe, a sloped site too, somewhat.
yeah, and there's a lot of mature bushes and trees along there.
Yeah, there are.
But again, we can't take into account
I
vegetation
know.
as
Yep.
screening. Yeah. So I know it would be screened by vegetation, but we're not supposed to look at that. And same with this, you know, the deer fence in the back.
The question
And,
is though,
and
a
it
hard,
calls out very
Right.
clearly that deer fences are not considered appropriate fences. So, you know, I really don't know what to do
under
with
any
that.
circumstances.
Right.
Well, I mean, it clearly lists it as an inappropriate material. So yes, I would say that'd be under any circumstances. I think I haven't had someone come in for a deer fence in, you know, the time I've been on the commission that I can remember.
On Old Post Road, we actually approved not deer fence, but the metal fence in one of the properties adjacent
For
to
pool?
the shrubs. No, it was not a pool. It was actually just the front
Oh,
yard.
it was on the front. It was on the front yard. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. But it was a different fence. It was also, there was no wood with it, which kind of makes it worse.
No, it was simply just the metal with very small attachments to hold it in place.
Mm.
But the deer fence is vinyl, right? Rosina?
I think deer fences they might have a vinyl
It's-
coating on it, but they're usually metal.
Well,
Yeah.
they go both ways, yeah.
I'm not sure what to do because I'd hate to set a precedent by approving something like this and then having it be so different than any other fence in Southport that people get up in arms over it.
The issue that I'm having is the one that has the wood above and below.
The wood
That
frame.
is, yes, it basically looks a bit too modern for what it should be.
Yeah, it does have a modern look. You're right.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Because it looks
I'm
weird.
just
I mean,
gonna-
it looks weird to have just these big frames, you know, and then the
Well,
mesh will go away, and it just seems like they're these big frames.
But what happens is it fades out to a gray. But I think, I think it actually it can be decent looking, but I think the point is from, just looking at this is it just is different than anything else in Southport.
Mm. Yeah, it's very different.
I think you gotta come up with another idea.
I would agree.
Yeah, my thing is I want to just say that I think they tried hard to not just want to put up a huge fence and blockade it around the property for their dogs. So the question is, how do you do it without just turning it into like a just huge fence all the way
Yeah.
around the property?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
chain link's not an option.
No.
I mean, and it's hard to do an electric fence with old dogs if they're elderly. But that is an option.
Yep. Okay, well, let's vote on the motion that's on the table. All in favor of the motion to approve A, B, and C as presented? Oops. All opposed? Okay, so the motion fails. Need a new motion?
I'll make a motion to deny without prejudice, A, B, and
Oh,
C.
second.
And I'm going to see in a second. 9. Okay, any more discussion? No. All in favor? All opposed? None opposed? Motion passes. Next item on the agenda is Sophie Coleman, 349 Beach Road in Fairfield, for property located at 349 Beach Road in Fairfield, for a proposed 6-foot high by 8-inch wide tongue and groove cedar fence with 5x5 posts, orange rails, and 3 gates. Can I get a motion, please?
I'll make the motion to approve A as presented.
I'll second.
Rosina makes the motion and Darren seconds. Thank you. Any discussion? No discussion? I'll take a vote. All in favor?
My hand's up.
Thank you, Jim. None opposed, motion passes. Okay, and the last item on the agenda, and I think Darren will be recusing herself since she presented it. As Andrew Locke and Darren Raymond Locke, 515 Stilson Road in Fairfield, the property located at 515 Stilson Road in Fairfield, to approve the consideration of this historic property study establishment.
I'll make the
Can I
motion
get a motion,
to
please?
approve A
I'll
as
accept- I'll
presented.
second it. I'll second that.
Thank you. Rosina makes a motion, George seconds. Any discussion? No discussion. We got
Think-
Good decision.
All in
Great,
favor?
it's a great idea.
Good decision.
Right. Okay. Moving right along, we need to approve minutes for the May meeting. Darren, Rosina, Jim, and Maura were here.
I'll make the motion to approve as submitted.
And I'll second.
Oh, second.
Darren makes a motion, Jim seconds. All in favor?
My hand's up.
Thank you. All opposed? Unopposed, motion passes. Repairs, 175 Old Post Road, replace copper gutters and downspouts in kind. We have one violation, 215 Old Post Road, the installation of a new fence on the side property line. He reached out to me and they hopefully will be submitting an application next month. It's too late to get them on this agenda. It was brought to my attention what church is that? The church across from the,
Trinity?
what is it? What's the church? Not Trinity. The one in Old Post Road next to the town hall, right next to town hall.
St. Paul.
Church
St.
that-
Paul or First Church?
Yes,
St.
yeah,
Paul's.
yeah. So they put in some paths and some curbing, Belgian block curbing. They did this whole nice thing in the back, which was brought to their attention, and they're dealing with it. I didn't issue a violation with them, but I did talk to them, and they're going to address the issue. And if they don't, then I'll have to issue a violation.
Was there
And that is
anything
it.
resolved with the garage on Old Post Road,
Which
at
garage?
the end of Old Post Road?
Oh, no.
Okay.
What was
No,
this?
It's the property all the way down at the end of the Post Road where the lady built a garage and then she slapped a stair on it without getting permission. Remember that one? And it's a really
Vaguely.
unattractive stair.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
yeah,
anyway,
yeah,
she's
yeah,
in violation, and she's in violation. She's being fined. She's on the fine list. The last communication I had with her, we were trying to work it out, and then suddenly she had a death in the family and needed some time. She was grieving. That was several months ago. So
They were working a few weeks ago on the yard area. So
yeah, I need to address that situation. I mean, she's under, she's been under violation, and it's on the land records, and fine. So I think the next
Yeah.
step is to take her to court if she doesn't want to. I mean, because I think she's going to try and come back and get it approved. I think she wanted to get it approved, but something that was, she was willing to, or at least said she was willing to change it to something more appropriate. But what that is, I don't know.
Okay.
There was also the house next door was brought to my attention. They put floodlights on the front of the garage, which weren't approved. That too was not issued a violation. They have not been issued a C of O yet for the property for the addition. So I didn't see a need to issue a violation because they're being held up. They can't get the C of O until that's done. Really address it anyway.
And then since we were talking today about hoods and exhaust fans, what about the one at the Bear Mansion that it's extremely visible, and back in the days when they put it together, they were supposed to provide greenery?
You're talking the vent, the fan, the hood,
Yes,
what are the
at the
vents,
Bear
or the
Mansion.
kitchen hood?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, as you know, that's the town.
I know.
So, there you have it. I think it was being addressed from the Old Post Road Association point of view. They were I think going to try and address that issue.
Okay.
As the representatives of the Old Post Road District, it's not fair that the town doesn't, adhere to the rules and that the residents have to.
Exactly.
So.
What happened also with
yeah,
the
I
house
talked to-
on, sorry, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
The house on Center Street that was extra high, that was going to be looked at, that there were complaints from the neighbors?
There's nothing we can do about that. It was approved by the commission. She actually submitted an application to change some windows that I couldn't accept because it wasn't complete enough. So she'll be, I think, coming back next month to change some windows. But there's nothing we can do about that. It's been approved.
I figured, but at one point there was discussion of taking a look at it to see if it was in violation of what was approved. So it sounds like we're agreeing.
Oh yeah, it's not in violation. No, I'm sure of that.
Yeah.
It's what's being built is what was approved.
Okay.
There's another house on Main Street. I forget the number that they were issued a violation for changing a window, like a picture window. It's in that apartment complex, one of the apartments,
Right.
or condos, and they were issued that the homeowner lives over on Sasco Hill, and he was out of the country, and he promised to submit an application for this month, and I haven't heard back from him. So I think the next step is to issue fines in that case to try and get them removed.
Where on Main Street is that, Adam?
It's I think it's the one next door to the school, next door to Southport School. It's the condos.
Yeah, the white
It's
one.
the Victorian house.
Yeah, the
Big
cottages
porch in the
in
front.
the back. The cottages in the back are not visible from Main Street.
No, this one's visible. This
Really?
window's visible for sure. It's
Yeah,
on the
that-
right
this
side
is-
of the house. Do
Yeah.
you know which one
Yeah.
I'm talking about, George?
Yes, I do.
It was the neighbor brought it to my attention because she's looking right at it and she saw them doing the work and wanted to know if they had approval, which they didn't. And they put a window in that's not appropriate. It has no panes, no divisions in it. It's just a big picture window.
Yeah,
So
I'm not
I'm not
familiar
sure what
with.
was there previously.
Have they been noticed?
I'm sure you. Yeah. And I talked to. He has a violation we issued, and I talked to the guy. And he couldn't address it at the time because he was going out of the country the next day. But he promised that when he came back, he would address it. And that was a while ago. He was going to do it in May, I think, and get the application in May for this meeting this month. But I haven't heard anything back. So that's all I have. Does anyone else have any business they'd like to share?
Oh, I have a question. What's going on with James Sullivan and his house on Pine Creek, South Pine
I don't
Grove?
know. He's been back and forth. I talked to his son about the house.
Oh, you did?
He pulled the
Okay.
plug. He pulled the plug at one point, and then he said, "No, I'm back in." And then I talked to his son, and so I'm just not doing anything at the moment. Maybe you want to reach out to him and ask him where he is with this now. But I think his son said he wants to. He's like might be selling the house soon.
Well, so
No.
the last I heard, he keeps emailing me, and I'm very
Oh, he does?
confused over what happens because he says he's got like 3 sons, I think. One of them is very against it because
Oh.
he thinks it'll affect the property value. I said it doesn't. And
No, but what it might do is it does affect the property of the homeowner who might buy it. You know what I mean? It's going to be it might detract from a home buyer if they have to deal with the Historic District Commission if they want to do anything to the house. So
yes,
there's
but
that
I don't
side
know
of
that
it.
it affects property value per se. I think antique
No,
houses
I don't think so either.
usually have a very niche market anyway, because somebody who's going to love a
Yeah.
house like he has, or like I have, or like most of us have,
Yeah.
is going to be a very specific person. But he keeps emailing me and saying, well, my son says this. And I go, well, if you want to withdraw, talk to Adam. And he goes, I don't want to withdraw. I don't know what's going on. And I cannot
At one point he did withdraw.
understand. So I just kind of told him just to discuss with you because I don't want to be involved. It's making things more complicated. Because
Yeah,
I'm confused. I don't know. I don't know if he's looking for guidance from me. I don't know exactly what he's looking for. And without
Yes.
talking to his son and directly and finding out what the issues are, what his concerns are, I can't really adequately address any of the questions.
Right.
So
The other question is who's going to do the report? Is that something you're taking on?
sorry, I have children running amok in this house. It's like they're feral. I'm so sorry. I live with squirrels. What did you say
Okay.
again? I did not hear you.
I was asking if he needs someone who's going to have to do the report. You know, the report like that you did on your property. So, is that something that you are willing to take on?
I'm happy to do the study report. I do them all the time.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem if it comes to the point when it needs to be compiled. That's fine with me. It's just we need to get to the point where he's ready to
Just a question. Yeah, question of
pull the
whether he
trigger.
wants to move forward or not.
Correct.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. Okay. I mean, I'll respond to his last email, which I think was that he wanted to continue on with it. So
His last
just to
email
double
to me
check, 'cause
was
then I
that
re-
his son was like a hard no. So I honestly don't
Yeah.
know.
I've got mixed messages as well. So it's confusing.
Yeah, I know
With
one
it
of
on
his
it.
sons lives with him. This is a son that doesn't. My understanding from James is that ultimately that house has a lot of meaning for him and was very meaningful to his wife who has since passed. And he's very anxious that it remains standing. I think he's concerned when he's looking at the development in and around that area because there has been a lot of development there. And the
Okay.
house does have interesting historic significance for sure. But I
Okay.
can't be the one to make the decision for him. He has to come to that decision and with his sons.
Yes. Okay. Before I forget the handbook.
Yes.
I know you're going to look at this
So to be honest, I think you were talking to Chris Skelly. The other people that I asked for bids from are not interested in taking on the project. They are overwhelmed at the moment. But
Right.
each of those solicitations does count as us soliciting a bid. So if Chris is interested in moving forward, we now can.
Okay.
Does he want
Okay.
a scope or
You
does
sure-
he want an RFP? We don't
No,
need
he's
one
already
in
given me a
that case.
proposal.
Oh,
Yeah, but I created the RFP, and because I thought you were going to give it to one of these other consultants.
oh yeah, they came back and said that they didn't have time.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Is there anyone else we can reach out to just so we can have at least one?
There's a couple other people.
That
The
you can
problem
think
is
of?
right now, so many people are overwhelmed. It's like beginning of grant season, so a bunch of grants are getting
Oh,
submitted for really big projects.
Okay.
I don't know if I'll be able to find somebody that would be willing to put in a bid in just so that we have an additional bid, but doesn't really want the project. I
True,
don't want to
true.
cloud the waters with that. I mean, to be
right.
completely
It's
honest,
creating
Chris
busy work for
Kelly
people.
is incredible. I mean, he wrote a bunch
No,
of
I
handbooks,
know.
I believe,
his
up in
proposal is
Massachusetts. He's
great.
great. Yeah, he's really
His
good.
proposal is great.
Yeah.
And I
So-
generated the RFP off his proposal because he had such good points. Yeah.
But he's like a
Yeah.
very known quantity. He's got good standing with SHPO, Connecticut SHPO as well as MA SHPO. And he's just really good. So I would love the opportunity to work with him. But that's just a very selfish thing on my part.
Okay, no, I think
but-
he's the guy. I think
Yeah.
we got all our ducks in a row with the town. I think there's a process for hiring him.
Yeah, I
Let's
think
find out what that
there's
is. I think the town.
Yeah, I think we have to vote on his proposal to move forward and get the commission to be like, yes, and then present it back to the town. And then I
Yeah.
don't know if there's a certified resolution that needs to be made for the,
Yeah.
yeah, so it has to go to Board of
Perhaps.
Select.
We have that, which we have.
Um,
Well, for the
But I think it has to go back to board.
for the proposal.
Yeah, just to say, this is the guy we're hiring. It has to go through some other committee. I don't
maybe.
know if it's finance or whatever. It just needs a sign off.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I have somebody who's helping me with that, so I'll ask her
Oh,
what
perfect. Okay.
the protocol is.
Yeah. But if we can
It's a
get
lot
his
of like
proposal in front of
a
the
lot of red
commission
tape for
next.
this silly little. A lot of red tape with this whole process.
There is. It's great.
Sort of lost. I'm not confused as to where we are. I know
Welcome
we're not going
to my
anywhere fast.
world.
That's for sure.
It's
Jeez.
it's
I think
amazing.
we
I
got the
don't drink.
approval back in December. And anyway,
Yeah, but just
Okay.
soliciting bids right now has been incredibly hard across the board. There's so many good projects out there that aren't getting bidded on at all. For
okay.
for various reasons, none of which I will be recorded saying.
Okay.
But it's definitely a very difficult climate. And now that the CIA has been chopped, SHPO has even less money to go around. So all the work is more and more coveted.
Gotcha. Okay.
So
Okay. That's all I got for today.
all right,
Anyone else?
Motion to close and
I'll second that.
All
cool.
right, George makes a motion to adjourn, and who seconds?
Me.
Darren,
Darren seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Yes.
5:26, Darren,
yeah.
go.
Oh, Darren's made it.
26. We'll
I'm hitting
adjourn.
the buzzer.